I'm the executive officer of the Talent Builders Association. I spent 25 years in the industry at the Florida Home Builders Association, and so the National Association is what owns the Home Building Institute and that program, and I'm so excited to have a chapter. I'm sorry, I apologize that it's taken me this long to get here, but we've been really concentrating on our high school chapters. So I started in high school, in middle school actually, in New York State when I was in school, which was a long time ago. We had shop classes, and I always took shop. My dad is a New York City contractor, so my dad has a very large construction company in Manhattan, and there's 4 children, and we were all expected to go into the business. So I took shop class. I did carpentry. I am a tool fanatic. I love my tools. I love to build. And I went to school for architecture. I went for design first. I went to a 2-year school to just learn architectural design, went to work for my dad's company, and then went on to get my architecture degree, and then moved to Florida, went to work for the Florida Home Builders Association, and I represent contractors and the subs in the industry, so I do a lot of lobbying on behalf of them. What we're looking for, our industry is aging out, which means that our contractors and all of our subs, all the tradespeople, are getting to the age of 45 and up. Average age in the United States is closer to 52 years old. They're not getting young people to come into this career. And this is something you really need to think about. If you love working with your hands, everyone wants to live in a home. Every single person in the world wants to live in a home. And so home building is never going anywhere. It's one of the few industries that will not become totally done by machinery, because you still need people to do certain things. And so it's always going to be a vital career, and you're always going to be so proud on the day, here's a builder, on the day he turns over the project that he has been building to the family that's going to live and grow in that home. You get chills. I get chills just thinking about every day that a family opens the door and walks through their home and has a safe place to live when the weather is bad. That's what you're building. That's the career that you choose. That's a career path that you choose, and you don't need college. But so I'm going to let Matt talk first about, because he's an actual contractor, somebody who went through this class as well, right here in this school, and is now in construction.
Thanks, Lynn. So I was Coach Kramer. I was a student. I don't even remember when. It was before 2000, so probably before a lot of y'all were born. But came through Raa, really enjoyed this class, and I really enjoyed the graphic arts, which actually gave me a little bit of drafting background. And then from Raa Middle School, I went to Lincoln High School for about 60 days, and then they asked me to leave. So I went and got my GED and went right to work. I really enjoy working with my hands, really enjoy building stuff, as most of y'all probably realize in this class. When you guys build something, it's pretty satisfying. But more importantly, I've learned after getting my contractor's license when I was 19 years old to building commercial projects, residential projects, and just being able to build things. It's really a fun, satisfying job. And so I want to show you guys a few of the tools we use. It's easy stuff, but they're somewhat fun. I'll pass this around. You guys ever seen a hard hat? I'm sure you guys have seen them around. So you can get one of these for like 20 bucks on Amazon. So go ahead and get you one if you want to, but this is like one of the key things that you can use on a job that's actually going to protect you and save you. So, fun stuff to kind of have. The tools are definitely a big part of it. Another thing we use, which I'm sure you guys have here, but this is tape measure. I'm sure you guys know how to read that. Y'all learned in Coach's class that, it's really important to know your measurements. So, pretty cool tools that you can use. Check it out. And lastly, this is kind of fun. This is a laser pointer. Now, this isn't just for cats to chase around and have fun with, which is fun to do that too, but when you're going through inspections and when you're going through a big building or even a small building, you can tell the inspector, hey, that junction box right there, we need to have that labeled so we can, understand what's coming in that junction box, and we need to get that exit sign lit up. So it's really important to be able to get access to stuff quick, so we have cool stuff like this that we can use. Don't shine in anybody's eyes. Please, it's dangerous. So the last thing I'll show you is kind of the big one. So I know you guys have probably seen this on TV, and I'll pass this around so you guys can look at this too. But this is kind of what we do. This is demolition that I want to show you guys that we do. And I don't know if anybody's ever torn down a house. Has anyone ever torn down a house before? Anybody? So I put my 2-year-old in my tractor, and we were able to tear this house down in a matter of about 20 minutes. So I'll send the video around, you guys can watch it, but this is super fun stuff. So construction, in my opinion, is extremely satisfying, and it's really fun. But it's also dangerous, so that's why we have safety equipment like hard hats and personal protection and all that. But I'll send that around, you guys can hit play. Please don't look at any other videos or pictures on there, but you can hit the play button, it'll hit play. So, who wants to work in construction? Anybody here? Truly? Anybody? So nobody. So that's okay. What do you guys want to do? I mean, are we going to school for doctor? You want to do computer programming? Is there any reason why anybody doesn't want to work in construction in particular? I'd like to hear. Nobody raised their hand, so.
To help you all out, I had no idea. I graduated from high school and I thought, I don't know what to do. So I went to FSU and I thought, this isn't interesting to me at all. So I started part-time in construction and I said, ooh, there's a shop program here. So I landed in both areas, academic and vocational. You don't know what your interests are yet. That's why I brought these guys in. And it's good to be trained in both areas.
So let's say all of you go to school and you academically succeed and you're all doctors or you're all lawyers or you're all work for the state and everybody's doing great and that's totally fine. Well, guess what? Miss Lynn said it perfectly. Who's going to live in a house here? Who in this room is definitely going to live in a house? Everybody. That's right. Or an apartment or anything else. Now, how exactly are you going to get your picture hung on the wall? And how are you going to get your kitchen remodeled? How are you going to get your floors remodeled? How are you going to get your bathroom remodeled? You got to call somebody, right? So that's where we kind of kick in. At some point in your life, you will run across the need for construction, more than likely. You'll realize, oh my gosh, I need it. So, anybody understand how many different types of trades are within construction? Would you all say maybe like 10 different type of people work in construction, like a plumber, an electrician, and air conditioning guy? How many think?
Like hundreds.
There's a lot, isn't there?
You have some people for walls, floors, masonry.
That's right. So just in this room alone, because we're here alone, you got a different subcontractor for the lights. It's an electrician. You got a different subcontractor that hangs this grid ceiling. The ceiling that's hanging from here, that's a different subcontractor. We could go on and on. You got a mason. You've got TV, audio, data people. You've got foundation. You've got storefront glass and doors. So you've got just cabinetry. It just goes on and on. Plumbers over there. So there's a lot of different trades within construction. So just like Coach said, he didn't know what he wants to do, but you can kind of pick up and say, hey, you know what? I want to try this out. So I'm here to encourage you guys, just so you know, I don't care how old you are. My dad, when I was your age, put me up in an attic and said, hook some wires to my belt loop and said, hey, crawl across this attic and drop the wires down. So that was fun, and I got to learn it because my dad was a contractor. But I'm telling you guys that even if you're 15 or 16 years old, summertime's coming around, you guys want to make some extra money to buy a car, buy a bike, buy a skateboard, buy a plane ticket, whatever you want to try to do. If you've got to make some extra money, this is a great way to do it. Construction's a great way to do it. So, as far as working in construction, it's as simple as this. If you guys are truly interested, you guys find a job site where there's a house or there's a house being built, and you go knock on that door, you go find that contractor and say, hey, I want a job. And that contractor is probably going to put you to work, moving dirt, picking up trash, cleaning stuff. So even as young as 15 or 16 years old, if you guys want to work during the summertime, totally great. I think you're going to learn a lot. You're going to make money too. How much do you guys think that people make starting in construction? How much per hour? Anybody? I know you want to say something. What you got?
At least $16.
$16 an hour? You know what the minimum wage is?
15, 20.
Get a lot of different answers here. What's the minimum minimum wage is close to $8.50 an hour. So minimum wage, that's for a bottom of the line worker, that's the minimum you're going to get paid. So if you go to a restaurant, you want to work at Zaxby's, you want to work at, in construction, whatever else, they're going to start you off at a minimum wage usually. Now in construction, typically you're going to start at about $10 or $11 an hour just to start with. And that's pretty good. So it's something to think about. You can work at Zaxby's or Wendy's or Sonny's or Chick-fil-A, and they'll pay you your minimum wage, and you'll learn, you'll get good experience. And you can also work, that's at night usually, you can also work in construction in the daytime, and you can make $10 an hour. And if you're really good at cleaning up or taking care of stuff, you make $15 an hour. You go from there. So some of my top guys make over $1,000 a week. So that's a lot of money, and you put in the hours, but those guys are really good at what they do, and they can work with their hands really well. So it's something to think about. Construction's an important industry. It's really fun. It's really fun to see what you do. So you guys got to figure out what you want to do as you're getting older, as you go through. Are y'all in 8th grade right now? 7th grade?
6th, 7th, 8th.
Okay, so all mixture. So when I was going through this school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I love working, but I also like school, and I like to ride my bike, and I like to do other fun things. But essentially, you guys are getting to that period where y'all are going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to figure out what you want to do, whether it's academically or outside of school. And a lot of people do both. You can do school and you can do work. So I would encourage y'all to look into construction, look into anything, whatever it may be. Learn as much as you can, soak it up, and make money as you move forward. So as far as application process goes, I'm sure Lynn could speak a lot to what you guys should expect from different contractors, and the process is going to be all the same. The questions are going to be all the same. What's your background, what's your experience? And so I think it's important for you guys, whether it's in construction or not, to learn how to apply for a job and the demeanor of that. And I think that's what we're trying to focus here on is how you get through maybe an application process. And that's important because it's not just write your name down and we see all your information. Oh my gosh, here's your address, here's your phone number, here's your name. Let's hire this person. That's not how it works. We want to interview you. You want to see, hey, are you actually excited about doing this? Do you want to do this? Because a lot of times what we get is people that just don't know what they want to do. And so it's important to figure that out. If y'all have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But it's definitely something we can talk about more.
All right, so thank you. I mean, you guys, you have an opportunity. You're still young, so you still have a long time to go. But you are going to be, especially the 8th and 9th graders, you're going to be looking for summer jobs. One of the things that I have seen over the years is you have job interviewing. Take your cell phone before you go anywhere, turn it on off, and put it away. Leave it in your car. Do not walk into a job interview, whether it's Zaxby's, Walmart, Publix, or a builder, carrying your cell phone and be looking at your cell phone when you're getting ready to do your interview. Put it away. Dress properly. Please, there are so many people out there that will come to a job site, and it doesn't matter if you're going to a contractor or Publix, dress in a more professional manner. And I don't mean that you have to go out there and get black pants and a dressy shirt, but don't wear your ripped jeans. Wear something nicer. Wear a nice pair of jeans, wear a nice pair of sneakers, a nice outfit, a clean shirt. Typically, young people should even wear shirts with logos and stuff on them. Just get a plain black shirt to attend your first. You want to look professional. You want that group, whether it's Zaxby's or Walmart or a contractor, you want to have a sense of professionalism. You're young. You are one of thousands of young people that will be looking for jobs. Not the youngest of you, but the ones that are ready to start looking for a job. You're one of thousands. It's the first impression that you make when you walk in the door. So put that cell phone away. When you do get your job, and when your resume, on your resume you're young. You're not going to have a whole lot to have written on your resume. So the most important thing is how you present yourself before they get to look at a resume that just says, I was in this class, and I was in this class, and I really like to work with my hands, or I'm just looking for a job. I own a restaurant as well, and Matt owns his own business, so we interview people. The worst is to see somebody come in and be like, yeah, I'm just looking for a job, I'll just take anything. I don't want you. I want you to be excited when you walk in my door. Show a little bit of excitement. Put that phone away. Always put your phone away. Don't walk in holding your phone. It's the rudest thing. It happens to be what we all have taught our children to do. They carry around their phones, but it's actually really rude to walk into an establishment when you're looking for a job and carrying your phone and then putting your face in your phone while you're waiting. You shouldn't be. You should just be standing there waiting for the owners to come up to talk to you or sit down and have that interview with you. You can always get on your phone when you walk out the door, but put your phone away, put it in your pocket, turn it on off. It's much more professional to make sure that your ringer doesn't go off while you're in that job interview. And the way you dress and your appearance. And the way, be proud of who you are. Stand up straight, look somebody in the eye, talk to them straight, give them the answers, answer their questions, and you don't have to know everything. You're still young. Even when you're in high school, you still don't know who you want to be. A lot of college, I have 4 children, and my youngest is in college. The others are all grown. Some of them still don't know who they want to be when they grow up. But that's life. You have an opportunity before you to explore all that life has to happen. And take that opportunity to explore all that life has to happen. Just stay on the right path and look professional when you're doing it. And I do want to encourage you to keep exploring. If you do enjoy this industry, if you're enjoying this class, continue to explore taking additional classes wherever you go on for high school. If they have a shop class and you do enjoy it, continue to take that. There are wonderful scholarship opportunities with HBI and also with the Tallahassee Builders Association. We have scholarships that are available for students that want to go on to TCC or Lively. And you can even actually apply for HBI. You can actually go to a 4-year university as long as you remain in construction type jobs. So you can go for construction management or architecture or engineering, apprenticeship programs, and receive. So don't forget that as you continue on through your high school years and when you're starting to get ready, because you've been in an HBI chapter, you can still apply for those scholarships that are out there because you've been through the program. So that's something to remember when you get to the high school level. When you're looking to pay for college, if that's the route you're going to go, as long as you're staying in the construction world of some type of education, don't forget to call and get the information about how to apply for a scholarship from HBI, because you can get up to $2,500 in a scholarship program, and that's going to help you every step of the way. Does anybody have any questions on like resume writing or?
When you're doing your resume, things like helping in the community, things like that.
Very important.
Do those
Very important. You on your resume should start with an opening statement of who am I, and it's just what I want to be. And so that's your opening statement, and then you have your experience. Your second section down is your experience. And your experience is going to be like maybe working for your dad, helping my family company, a family business, classroom. And then you want to talk about your hobbies and what you do in the community. So if you do community work, if you are out there working for your church or going on missions, that's all important at this age, because that's all you have to offer. So yes, at this age, that's what you want to do. When you're in college also, if you've been on mission trips and community builds and, depending on what you do in the community, that's the bottom section of your resume. So the top is who you are, the middle is your experience, and then the bottom is your awards, your hobbies, if you're a football player, if you're a dancer, if you play music, and then all of your community work would be part of your resume. So you have to break your resume down into 5 sections, and that's the best way to put your resume together. So that's a good question. Anybody else?
How do you even start? If you're looking for a construction job, where do you go?
If you're looking for a construction job, is that what you said?
Where do you go? How do you find this contract?
Well, you can contact our association, the Tallahassee Builders Association. You can come in and meet with us. You can give us a resume. You can contact builders in the community, look in the newspaper. Sometimes they put it in the newspaper that they're looking for work. If you have a resume and you want to drop it off, I scan it and I send it out to all the members. I get people all the time that send us resumes, and I'll put it out on a blog. If it's a student, especially when they're students, we try to really say, hey, listen, we got a student that's interested in the field, he's been going to school, we want to try to get him into some summer work. Anybody out there hiring needs somebody to help clean? Listen, my dad owned a construction company, and my first job from 9th grade, probably earlier than that, I had to go to every job site and pick up roof nails. Back then, they were hammering roof nails, and I had to walk around the property and pick up roof nails, sweep the driveway. My dad didn't care, girl or boy. All four of us had to be on those job sites, cleaning, picking up everybody's dropping drink cups off the roof, and we were picking them up, making sure that the people's properties were kept safe. So you might get that kind of a job where, you know, at this age, that's what you would get, is a cleaning, sweeping out an interior of a house, you know, following behind the experienced workers who are talking to you and having fun. You're watching a house being built, and you're helping to keep it clean. And it brings you out into the world of seeing all of these different people who are on that job site working. And you get to ask questions. And so I would say get the resume to the Tallahassee Builders Association, and I'll send you my info. And then, like, how else would they do it? And, like, just sending it to different contractors, seeing who's working. But probably easier using a central location if you're definitely interested in working this summer with a contractor, getting us, you know, and I'll be happy to help you put a resume together. Just simple, it's all it takes is a simple resume at your age. You don't need a whole lot.
I have a sample one that I'm going to give you guys, probably tomorrow, and I'll show you how to fill it out. It's just a sample that I downloaded on the computer.
We got a question.
So, can you get paid to go on the sites and clean like the whole house out? So like you can, I think I have, my mom's friend goes to houses before people do construction on them and clears them out and cleans out of them after and before. So
That's definitely a job. I mean, 100%. No question. Cleaning is one of the biggest things to do. That's usually where you start at. So, how many of y'all are 15 years old in this class? 14? Alright, so we got some older people. Anybody gonna be 15 this summer that's 14 right now? Alright, so we got one worker right here. What are you doing this summer?
Probably nothing.
Okay, don't you want to make money?
Yeah.
So what do you think you're going to do? You're going to apply, you want to go work at Chick-fil-A? You want to work at
Probably Publix.
Publix? Okay, and you'll make, you know, you got to submit an application for that. So you'll learn how that goes. But are you just going to apply just to Publix? Or are you going to apply to different places too?
Probably multiple places.
So yeah, that's a great way to get a job, is apply to multiple places. Just keep putting in your application, follow up, because again, the whole point is, you know, hey, I want this job, I really want to do it. And so, you guys that are 14 and girls too, doesn't matter. This is guys, girls, doesn't matter. You know, if you guys want to start in any industry, you got to knock on the door, and that's putting an application in, that's finding a place, whether it's a house you pass by or somebody that you know through your parents. You know, you just got to basically say, hey, listen, I think I want to work. I want to make some money this summer. So it's really important, and Lynn has the resources for multiple builders, not just me, not just smaller guys, bigger guys. So it's one of those things where it's like you can work anywhere. She can source you out to 5 different builders, and you might not like 3 of them. And you might say, you know, I don't want to work for this guy because he didn't really seem like he cared, you know. And it might happen at Publix, it might happen anywhere else. But the point is, applying for a job should be exciting. It should be something that you look forward to doing. And I mean, I don't see anyone in this room that probably isn't going to have to get a job by the time they're 18. You know, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you want to get a job. Say it again, a little louder.
Can you work after 18?
I don't know. You know, the laws are pretty constrictive for younger generations. So
I heard Publix will hire 14, but I'm not positive. And even if they do, your hours are limited for a week.
it's probably only during the summertime too.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get them.
But that, you know what that does is that shows though, when you're 17 it shows that your potential employer, it shows when this guy went out and got a job and he was 14 years old. Yeah, he was only able to work 3 hours a week. Hey, you know what that 3 hours puts in your pocket? 24 bucks. You know, and it gets you to the point where you're a little bit more independent. You're gaining life experience. You're starting to really realize what this world is about, and everybody's got to get a job. I mean, it's just the way it is.
The library, you can volunteer at the library and other places, and that can go on your resume too.
100%. Yeah. Anything that you put, whether it's community work, volunteer work, even if it's working for your church or for for an association that you know of, anything you guys do that's voluntary or community-based or doesn't matter what if you help with a race, like hey, I want to help be a volunteer on a race program, or whatnot, whatever it may be, it always helps to say, hey, listen, this is me out here wanting to be involved, wanting to get experience. So this summer, I think is important. The summer's coming up. And so instead of just hanging out in the house all day long, shooting off on Instagram and all that stuff, and just kind of checking out what everyone else is doing, start posting on your Instagram. Hey, I got a job. I'm going to work. Be that person that's out there, and if not, say, hey, I'm going to volunteer here or there. But be a part of that. Hey, I want to do something in this world instead of getting stuck in the world of Facebook, Instagram, all that social media. So I'll give you guys a little hint. You guys are probably seeing this in school a lot. But on my job sites, I don't allow cell phone usage. Everybody wants to wear their cell phone. They want to have their headphones on. They want to just do their own thing. Well, to me that doesn't work. Not in construction. And really I don't see where it works anywhere else. And the main reason is safety. It's not safe. And you're not focused on what you're doing. And when you got your headphones in, you don't hear that big excavator behind you tearing stuff down, and you got a problem when something's coming down on your head. So it's really important for safety. That's why we kind of harp on the cell phone thing. So cell phones are nice when you take your lunch break, or when you're done at the end of the day, and you can check into the rest of the world then. But it is important to have focus on what you do. And I even practice, because as adults, hey, we're interested in social media too. We want to know what's going on too. But we have to realize as business owners, yeah, I know Coach Kramer's all over it, man. He's on top of it. He's probably like, Insta what? So anyways, the point is, it's like some of the younger generation is starting at business owners. We have to start to limit ourselves, and we're actually hiring people to do that for us. That's a whole other job that your generation is 100% apt at doing. We're not very good at that. You guys can literally create a business for marketing. You guys have seen it. The YouTube kids that open up presents, and they make $400,000 a year for open up stuff from product reviews and stuff. It's insane. So it's really important to think about what you're going to do as you grow up, and the more you get involved and the more excited you are about it, then that much further on you get with your experience. So I'd like to see some of you guys that are and girls that are 14 and 15 going into the summer. I'd like to see you at Publix, or I'd like to see you somewhere else, and I'd be like, hey man, what's your name? Ben. I say, oh, that's Ben from Ramos. Good for you, you got a job, and he'll be making his paycheck, and he'll be working during the summer, and work's not a bad thing. Work's good. Keeps you occupied, keeps you busy. So one last question for y'all, that I have at least. Who actually wants to work in here? So that's good. That's really good.
So I have some ideas. Because you are so big on your computers, your phones and all, and I left my phone in the car. I took my phone out of my pants pocket and put it in my car. I did not take it in here because I do not want to be rude to have my phone, and I do wish I had it for cameras, but it's not. It's in my car. But think about this. You can become an entrepreneur on your own this summer at 14 years old. Because you might not be able to get a job other than Publix. There's a few places where you can't go at 14, but you can become your own entrepreneur this summer by making a flyer and becoming a babysitter, girl or boy. You can become a babysitter. Make flyers, walk around your neighborhood, give out flyers about babysitting. Then you take your phone and you Instagram Not putting your kids on the pictures of that right now, but you can take pictures of things that you're doing with the kids and Instagram yourself. And then this way you're building your business. You could also do that with lawn mowing. You could make a flyer and go around, knock on every single person's door in your neighborhood and give them out a flyer. Start your own lawn mowing business. You can do that with dog walking. I hire a young kid in my neighborhood to take care of my dog all day long. And over the summertime, they'll come 3 or 4 times a day, open my door, take my dog out, play with them, have a frisbee, whatever. I pay them, $35 a week to come to my house and do that because I go from one job to another job. So I need somebody to take that dog out and walk it. Those are things that you can think outside the box that will get you started. You can babysit at your church. Sign up to babysit for the moms that want to go to classes or do things at church, and you can actually become a babysitter at the church. And if they have a nursery there, at 14 you can be hired in the church nursery. Those are all things that you can do now at a young age, and it's creating your own business. You're almost creating your own business plan, and they're enabling you to see what it's like to be a business owner. And you can do it simply by getting 3 or 4 customers. So think outside the box. When you're 14 years old, what are you going to do? And there's opportunities out there for you to do something other than sitting at home on the couch and just hanging out. You can put some money in your pocket and save, because let me tell you something, when you get to college, it's very, very expensive. You want to move out, you don't want to live at home, you have to pay rent, you have to start paying, and not everybody has parents that are willing to pay all of that.
I don't live at home. My mom will cook me meals.
That's right, you want to live at home? You should want to live at home through college, it's a good thing. You can also get free laundry service.
So I want to know what every one of y'all wants to do. You don't have to have the exact answer, but what do you want to do?
Computer science.
What about you?
AC.
AC? Like air conditioning? Good.
I want to be a teacher or a doctor.
Good.
Something that requires kids, because I like kids.
You don't know? That's okay. What do you want to do?
I'm just not sure.
What was it?
I'm not sure.
What was the first thing you said?
I'm like her, I'm just not sure.
Okay. What about you?
Racing cars.
Racing cars. What about you?
Don't know.
You don't know? You haven't put any thought into it. What about a wild guess?
I don't know.
All right. What about you?
Somewhere between maybe robotics or construction, not quite sure.
Ties them together. What about you? You don't know?
No.
Not even a
I was
guess.
just hoping to get to college or running career.
So running in college, maybe that's good. That's a good path. What about you?
Either marine biologist or herpetologist.
What's a herpetologist?
Person who studies amphibians and reptiles.
Nice. You ever been to Busch Gardens? You got a really cool program for all that. What do you want to do?
I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Biologist.
Biologist.
Tech design.
Tech design? What about you?
Like aerospace and engineering.
Nice.
Probably marine biology.
Marine biology. What about you, Ben?
Digital design.
Digital design?
Psychology.
Psychology?
Police officer.
Yes. We need more of those.
NFL thing.
What was it?
Football thing.
All right.
Graphic designer.
Dentist.
A dentist? What was it?
Fireman.
Fireman? That's great. You guys got a lot of good aspirations, good ideas. I think that's really awesome that, everybody in here kind of had a different path. So I think that's really good, and that's pretty awesome that you guys kind of have honed in on that. And I hope that you guys pursue those. And the guys, I think there was 3 or 4 people that didn't know yet, and that's fine. You got to figure that out. Maybe you'll figure it out in a year, maybe you'll figure it out in 5 years, but it's definitely something that I'm glad to see that you guys have ideas of what you want to do.
And my last thing is, the ones that did say, I don't know, that's good at your age. You shouldn't really know. You're too young to really know what you want to be, because you will change your mind. You don't want to get yourself stuck in one thing because you really don't know. But that opens a world of opportunity for you to try so many different things. Working at Publix may working at Publix may bring out a career that you end up staying at Publix. My niece went to work at Publix at 14 years old in Lakeland, and she is now in the law department making buku dollars, travels all over the country, and helping opening up Publixes. And she started at 14, bagging, and they paid for her college. So Publix is a phenomenal company. You could spend the rest of your life at Publix. But as a I don't know person, you have everything. Talk to your parents, talk to your pastor, talk to friends, talk to whoever you want to talk to. Keep the conversation going and explore everything that's out there, because you just don't know what your career may be. But there's something out there for everyone.
Is it okay, like, do you think it's good for people, like, even my age, to just go online and look at jobs around the area that they like doing?
Yes. It's a great way to learn. It's a great way to learn to see what's out there, because you don't know what every career is. Did I think I was going to be with the Builders Association? No, I thought I was going to be a builder. I was an architect. I wanted to actually build and be a builder. And I actually wanted to be a chef, but I had to go into construction because my dad was a contractor and I had no choice. I had no say in the matter. My college degree was being paid for by my parents, and he said, architect school, we need draftsmen and architects to bid on jobs, and that's what you're going to go to school for, and that's what I went to school for. But you know what? When I turned 50, I opened a restaurant on my own, did it because I always wanted to be a chef, and I never gave up on that dream. And so I work during the day, and then I go to my restaurant, because that's what I really wanted to do. But I love my day job. So.
What's your restaurant?
Oh, it's a wine and cheese bar. It's called 319. It's named after the highway.
It's very good.
So it's a small little bistro. So
Where is it?
what?
Where is it?
Where is it? It's down on Thomasville Road, north of I-10.
So everybody's, we've talked over the application process, what you guys want to do, but I don't think we've hit on hard, at least, on being an entrepreneur. So, Lynn's an entrepreneur. I would consider myself an entrepreneur. Do you guys know what an entrepreneur is? Anybody?
They start their own business.
That's right. You kind of create your own. You create your own business. You create your own industry, whatever it is. Can anyone give me, out there in this world, some examples of obvious people in this world that are entrepreneurs? Yes.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Anybody else?
People like someone who created SSU and schools, like those universities.
Anybody else? What about the guy who created Facebook?
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube? I mean, these guys. Anybody? So these are entrepreneurs, okay? And so one thing we've talked about is how you fill an application out and work. Well, I've filled out applications before, and I've worked for other people, but I work for myself mainly. And so that's something else that you guys can think about too. If you guys want to create your own business, you can. There's no laws against creating your own business when you're 14 years old. So that's important to realize that you guys really have an endless opportunity to create. And whether that's walking dogs or mowing people's lawns or whatever that may be, digital marketing for someone, doesn't matter what it is, or social marketing. All those things you guys have the ability to create, so you can always create your own business. Now when you create your own business, you're subject to a lot of the rules and regulations that the state or the government has on you. So that's a whole nother level of business, but guess how much money you make when you create your business? How much money you make an hour when you're an entrepreneur? Anybody kind of guess?
How much do you mean, right?
There's no limit.
There's no limit.
There's no limit to how much money you can make or how much money you can what?
Spend.
There's no limit to how much money you can make or how much money you can...
Pay people.
What was that?
Pay people?
Somebody said it.
I said lose.
Yeah. So you can make money as an entrepreneur, but you can also what? Lose money. So it's important to understand that, and that's just part of it. And that's the risk that you take. It's a risk reward. So it's exciting. I hope you guys are excited about this, So, but I mean, it's just part of the process, You guys can figure out what you want to do. If you feel like creating something this summer, if you feel like going and getting a job, reach out to whoever it is. Ask your parents. Hey, I think I want to get a job. They're going to help you. They're going to be in support of that. I can pretty much guarantee you that. So I hope you guys do that this summer. I hope you guys, go out there, create something, get a job, figure it out. And I hope that the application process, that at least you'll be a little bit more well prepared based on what Lynn was saying. Go in there prepared, go in there focused, go in there ready to answer whatever questions to the best of your ability. Tell people, hey, I'm just starting out. This is my first job. I just want that job. When you go to Publix, you tell them, hey man, I want this job. I want this job. I want my first job. I want this job. I'll be on time. I'll be ready to work. Your phone's in your car. You're good to go. And then they're going to say, man, this guy Ben, he's a stand-up employee. He's really focused. And guess what happens when you do that? What happens? What happens when you're a really good employee?
You get a raise.
You get more money. You get a raise. You get promoted. You go to the next level. So it's important to do all those things. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope it encourages y'all to pay attention to that and think about that this summer when you're sitting at home and wondering what to do.
All right, thank you. Jordan, turn it up.
All right.
Mr. Kramer mentioned, my name is Curtis Richardson. I'm the Community Relations Coordinator for Lively Technical College.
Cool.
And I stress the word college because we just got designated as a college. We were Lively Technical Center prior to that. Lively is the post-secondary education institution for the Leon County School District. We're a part of the Leon County school system, so we come under the superintendent and school board on the same academic calendar as all of the schools in the district. But we provide career and technical education for primarily adult students. People who have already graduated high school, may not want to go to college, may want to delay going to college, and want something else to do in the meantime. And so we have career and technical education programs at Lively that are very fulfilling and rewarding. And that's picking up on what Mr. Kramer talked about, is you want a career that is both fulfilling, meaning you enjoy what you do, you wake up every morning excited about going to work, and it's rewarding. It does pay you a significant salary, or at least something that will allow you to take care of yourself, and later in life, if you decide to have a family, it allows you to be able to take care of your family. But you can pay the bills, pay back any student loans you might have, buy yourself a nice car, a house, those kinds of good things. And it's not too early to start thinking about that kind of thing. It's interesting, Mr. Kramer, I was at one of our high schools recently, as recent as yesterday, and I was talking to high school seniors who will graduate in 2 months. They will graduate high school in 2 months, and most of them had no idea of what they were going to do on June 1st after they finished graduation ceremonies on May 31st. They had no clue. Only a few had already applied to college and been accepted, but the majority of those students had no clue as to what they were going to do after high school graduation. So you all are ahead of the game here at Raa and being in this class, because at least you're getting an opportunity to experience career education. As Mr. Kramer mentioned, we used to call it vocational education or shop class when he and I were in school. And that was something that everybody had some exposure to. It was either home economics, which we call culinary now, or typing, secretarial skills, wood shop, because they knew that it was important that students coming through then had those kinds of practical skills that you could immediately put to work when you came out of high school. You could go into construction, or you could become a secretary, and that was largely for females back then. But you had those kind of practical skills that you could use coming out of high school. Well, we got to a point where the emphasis became college matriculation, and the rage was everybody had to go to college. And that was where you were going to be successful if you had a college degree. And so we started dismantling a lot of the vocational education programs in schools. Very rarely do you see programs like this now in public schools throughout the state of Florida, or even throughout the country. Because everybody suggests to you, and I'm sure your parents have probably told you the same thing, relatives, what college are you going to? Have you thought about where you're going to go to college? And so everybody thinks that college is the path to success in this country. But what we know is that only 40% of the students who graduate from high school, 40% of the students who graduate from high schools in the state of Florida will go on to a post-secondary institution, meaning a community college, or what they call a state college now, or a four-year university. 40%. So what happens to that other 60% that don't go to college? Well, they have to find something to do. I told those kids yesterday, I said, your parents may give you a honeymoon period after graduation, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month, but at some point when they're getting up in the morning and they're going to work, and you're laying in the bed and you're there till noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon asleep, they're going to start asking you some questions about what you're going to do. Where are you going to find a job if you're not planning to go to school, go to college, or technical college? Because they're not going to take care of you for the rest of your life. So you're going to have to start making some decisions. This is what I told the students on yesterday. Seniors at high school that will be graduating in a couple of months. And so what I hoped that I imparted to them was that they need to start giving some thought as to what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. And I talked to them about the opportunities available at Lively Technical College, the career and technical programs that we have at Lively. And now those programs are starting to become in vogue again. We had two individuals running for the governor of the state of Florida here recently. They are from different political parties. They have different political philosophies. They have totally different backgrounds. But the one thing that they agreed on in their campaign plans, the one thing that they both agreed on was the importance of career and technical education in our schools now. That was the one thing they agreed on, because so many students are coming out now without those skills and they're not going to college. 60%. And even among that 40%, you have a number of kids who will go to college because their parents wanted them to go, because they went to college, or relatives in the family went to college. And they go and they end up not liking it. I talked to a parent just recently. She's a guidance counselor. She has two sons. One went to Albany State University after he graduated high school. Got there, he was there for a year and decided college was not for him. Came back to Tallahassee, enrolled in the welding program at Lively. He is now a welder, probably making over $100,000 a year. Her other son, he went into the automotive mechanics program right out of high school. He's now working at a BMW plant somewhere up in Georgia, I guess, Mr. Kramer, but he's doing very well. Both fulfilling careers and extremely rewarding. Okay? And I'm not knocking college. I told those kids yesterday, if that's what you want, and you're sure that that's what you want, and you and your parents talk about it, once you get into high school, some of you probably have already started having those conversations, because if you're going to college, you're already probably taking some high school classes, I would imagine. My daughter is. She's an 8th grader at Florida High, and she's already taken some high school courses preparing for college admissions. So it's not too early to start having those conversations about what it is you might want to do. And you're going to change your mind probably a dozen times between now and the time you graduate and go out on your own. It was interesting. I went on a Chamber of Commerce trip to Greenville, South Carolina, and they start their kids as early as elementary school, introducing them to career and technical education. They have 7 tracks that they've identified because that area is a high manufacturing area, so they're real big into manufacturing. They have a BMW automotive plant up there, a Michelin tire company, so that's what they do. They manufacture products. And so they start kids as early as elementary school. They have an elementary school of engineering. An elementary school of engineering. I've never seen anything like it, Mr. Kramer. But when you finish that elementary school of engineering, you go to the middle school of engineering. These are for students who have an interest, of course, in engineering, but they also have construction, they have automotive mechanics, they have healthcare education, all careers where there is a dire workforce shortage. And that's what we're trying to address, that workforce shortage. And so that's what we do. So once those kids leave that middle school in North Carolina, that middle school engineering school, they go to a high school. So they're already on a track towards establishing a career when they leave high school. Now, does that mean that they will then go to the vocational technical college? Maybe, maybe not. Some of them may decide to go to college. But at least they have the foundational skills now to be successful in a career after high school. And so that's what we do for high school graduates at Lively Technical College. Like I said, we're a post-secondary institution, so our students are primarily adults, or almost exclusively adults. We have some dual enrollment programs, and I'll talk about that. And our only admission requirement at Lively is a high school diploma or the equivalent, the GED. There are some people who separate from high school prior to graduation for whatever reason, but they go back and they get their GED diploma, which is the equivalent of a high school diploma, and they're eligible to attend Lively. We don't do any type of admissions testing like the SAT or ACT. The only thing we do is some achievement testing to see what level the students are performing on academically. Because if you've got to do measurements or angles, you've got to know some math and geometry. If you're working in a doctor's office and you've got to read a patient's care plan, we want to make sure that you can read and comprehend at a certain level, because you've got people's lives literally in your hands. And so that's the only requirement that we have at Lively for the vocational, the career and technical programs that we have. And we've got about 40 different career and technical programs at Lively, ranging from welding to barbering and cosmetology, culinary. We've got all of the programs in the construction trades, and that's what I'm going to talk about more specifically, because apparently that's where you all have some interest at this point. But we've got electricity, we've got an aviation maintenance and repair program, we've got office occupations, and the one thing I can tell you about all of these programs, when our students complete those programs, we have a 95 to 100% placement rate. So nobody finishes from Lively and they're looking for a job. They're almost guaranteed employment. As a matter of fact, we have students, our welding program, for instance, it's a 2-year program. We have a difficult time keeping our students to program completion because we have employers out there saying, listen, you get the basic skills at Lively, and then we'll hire you as a welder and we'll finish your training on the job. But in the meantime, we'll pay you $100,000 a year as a welder. And that's what welders are making these days. They start anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 a year. We've got students in Augusta, Georgia, finishing what is the equivalent of an internship in welding. They're making $125,000 a year. They have a 2-year apprenticeship. They make $125,000 a year as a welder. There's a subspecialty of welding for people who weld underwater. They can start as high as $250,000 a year, $250,000 a year. It's dangerous work. I'm gonna tell you, it's dangerous. It's not the most glamorous work, but for those who enjoy it, it's fulfilling and definitely rewarding. I've got 3 college degrees, Mr. Kramer, and I've never earned $125,000 a year. Never. But that's what welders are making. Auto mechanics are making now $30, $40 an hour, and they hardly get their hands dirty anymore. Okay? So those are the opportunities out there for you all, and this is the time to start thinking about it. Don't wait until 2 months before high school graduation and start thinking about what it is you're going to do with the rest of your life. Now is the time. And if you choose college, that's great. If that's what you and your parents decide is best for you. But I can tell you there are a whole lot of students now, and college is so expensive, it's prohibitive for a lot of people. So you can be an Einstein, and you come from a family that can't afford to send you to a college or university that's charging you $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year to attend. What good is it being an Einstein if you can't afford to go to that college or university because it's so expensive now? And that's the reality. My wife and I got lucky. We have a daughter that just graduated from Rickards. She was in the IB program then. We got lucky. She got admitted into the Naval Academy, and they pay all of her expenses. So we like that, Ms. Kramer. The only thing we have to pay is her travel expenses home and back, whenever she's able to come home. But that's not the case for a whole lot of families, and so you can be as smart as a whip, but college is still out of reach for so many families because of the expense. Okay? So you all are doing the right thing by getting yourselves prepared, at least to see if this might be something that you want to do in the future, and consider it something that is as honorable, if you will, as having a college degree. You know, you're earning a good living, you're able to take care of yourself. It's certainly an area where you can almost be guaranteed employment. In the construction trades, what we're finding now is those who are in the trades a lot of times look like Mr. Kramer and I. They're 50, 60, 65 years old, and they're getting ready to retire. Or God is going to retire them. And so what we're trying to do now is to build a bench, if you will, is to start getting young people interested again in the construction trades. Because if not, we're not going to have anybody out there to build the houses and to put on the roofs and to wire the electrical systems and to put in the plumbing. But we all know you've got to have those things. And so that's why we're starting early. That's why in South Carolina, they've got an elementary school of engineering. They've got an elementary school of auto mechanics and welding and manufacturing, because they're starting to create an interest early among those young people to get them interested in those careers. They're careers that pay a lot of money. I'll give you guys an example, 2 examples. My family and I were going on vacation for the Christmas holidays. Had a leak from my hot water heater. And we couldn't leave. We were going to be gone for about a week. Couldn't leave with the hot water heater leaking. Fortunately, it was leaking outside and not in my house. But I couldn't leave it like that. I had to call the plumber. He came out. It was a holiday. He told me, Mr. Richardson, we're going to have to charge you the holiday rate. He couldn't have been at my house more than 30 minutes. He knew exactly what the problem was. He went to the hot water heater, fixed it. It was about 30 minutes. He charged me $380. 30 minutes worth of work. His hands weren't dirty. $380. That's the kind of money that plumbers are making. My wife and I are getting the roof replaced on our house. It's an old roof. It's about 22 years old, but we had some wind damage from Hurricane Michael. And so we're getting our roof replaced. The guy that the company that we have contracted with has got so much business that he told me it's going to be 3 months before he can get to our house. He's got that many projects lined up and that much work going on replacing roofs. Now, that was partly because of the workforce shortage that we had before Hurricane Michael came through. Hurricane Michael came through, it just really created havoc, because you all have heard and read about all the damage that Hurricane Michael caused in this area and areas west of here. And even the little storm that we had that came through Leon County in that Baum Road area. Lots of damage, houses destroyed, businesses damaged or destroyed, and so all of that is going to have to be rebuilt. But where is the workforce? We're having to recruit. The contractors are having to recruit workers from other areas of the state because we don't have the workforce here in our area. And so there is tremendous opportunity now to work, number one, and they're writing their own paycheck. Because if I've got to have that roof, when I had to have that hot water heater replaced, I couldn't do it myself, so I had to pay somebody to do it. Same thing with my roof or any other construction or repairs that you have to make. If you can't do it yourself, you've got to pay somebody else to do it, and they tell you what it is they're going to charge within reason. Now, they can't scalp you. Charge you $1,000 to turn a knob or anything like that. But within reason, they're going to tell you what they're going to charge. And that's the position you want to be able to put yourself in. As Mr. Kramer mentioned, a lot of the providers in this area, they got their start right at Lively Technical College. A lot of the electricians, plumbers, roofers, drywallers, we didn't have a brick masonry program, but a lot of those guys got their start in the programs that we have at Lively Technical College. And now they are business owners themselves, and they're hiring people. And they just go around and check on the quality of their workers' performance on the job site. So those are the kinds of opportunities that will be available for you all if this is something that you decide to pursue. So what do you need to have in order to be successful? You, first of all, have got to have the knowledge and skills to be successful. You're starting now to learn some of what it takes to be successful in the construction industry. You know, and Mr. Kramer is teaching you that. So you've got to have that at least basic level of knowledge and skills, and you'll gain more as you go forward if you stay with what you're learning here at Raa. If continue in the program at Leon, and then after graduation from Leon, you matriculate to Lively or one of the other vocational or career and technical colleges across the state. And just a side note, the reason that we sought the college designation is because there is such an emphasis now among a lot, and parents have, I don't know if we've done our kids justice or not by pushing this college thing. And so that's why we wanted Lively to be designated a college, because everybody wants their child to go to college. College parents are sometimes our biggest obstacle in getting kids enrolled at Lively, because they don't want their kid enrolled in a center. They want their kid to go to college. And so we now are a college. So parents and our students can tell their friends and relatives that they are in fact in college. And it's not just, so it was just a technical change from center to college, but you'd be surprised at what a difference that makes for some parents and their students to be able to say that their child is going to college. Because for some of them, they are the first one in their family that has ever gone to college, with Lively being that college. So that's why it was important for us to have that designation. So you're going to get those basic skills and knowledge at Lively, and I'm sure it's the case here. In our construction classes, construction trade classes, probably 30% of the instruction is classroom instruction, because you've got to have that. You've got to know how to be safe on the work site. You've got to have certain basic knowledge. And so that occurs in the classroom in a setting very much like this. But most of the instruction at Lively is experiential. It means that you learn by doing. So if you're going to be a carpenter, you learn by doing things, by building things, and completing projects. I know one of the projects that our instructor is working on at Lively is the tiny village out on Pensacola Street. There's a guy in town named Rick Carney. He's building a little village for people who find themselves in a homeless situation. And they've built a little community out off Highway 20. Can't think of the name of it, but it's the little tiny houses. They call them tiny houses. He works with them and takes his students out to actually work on those houses. So they're learning by doing. It's experiential learning. So that's about 70-80% of what you do in a class at Lively. Okay? And you become proficient at that, and then you are qualified to take either a certification exam or a licensure exam. So the knowledge and skills that you're gaining prepare you for the knowledge and skills that you need in order to qualify on either a state or national exam to give you the credential that you need in that field, in construction, in electricity, in heating and air conditioning. So you have the credential then. So that tells people that, at least, this person has been to school and they know something about being a drywaller or a roofer or a plumber or an electrician, because they've been to school, they've got the credential, they've got a certificate, they got a license, they must know something about it. But the other thing that you need are what we call soft skills in order to be successful. Soft skills are, do you know how to write a resume? Now you all may not be at that point yet, but you'll get there. How do you write a resume? How do you present yourself when you come in for your interview, if you're looking for a job? I had a kid just recently. I'm on the city commission here in Tallahassee, and I had a student come in. A guy come to me, well, his grandfather called me and asked me if I could help his grandson get into our apprenticeship program. He wanted to become a lineman in our public utilities department. And a bright young man. He had worked, I think, for one of our local electrical companies, but very